May 1st, 2013. Bedford, Texas. A mother pulls into her apartment parking lot, groceries in the back seat, 3 boys beside her. A Wednesday evening, ordinary in every way, until it wasn't. By the time police arrived, 2 members of that family were dead. And the man responsible, the man who shared a home and a child with that mother, was already gone, driving north on Interstate 35, with blood on his hands. This is the story of Cedric Allen Ricks, and as of March 11, 2026, it is a story that has reached its final chapter. Roxann Diana Sanchez was 30 years old, a medical assistant by profession, a mother by everything else. She had 3 sons. The 2 eldest, 12-year-old Marcus Figueroa and 8-year-old Anthony Figueroa, were from a previous relationship. Her youngest, a 9-month-old infant named Isaiah, she shared with Cedric Ricks. By all outward appearances, the relationship seemed stable. Social media posts showed affection, photographs showed a family. Nothing visible on the surface suggested what was building underneath. But the surface lied. Cedric Allen Ricks was 38 years old in 2013. To neighbors, to family, to anyone scrolling past their posts online, he and Roxann looked like a couple in love. What the public did not see was a documented history of violence stretching back years, touching multiple women. At trial, his ex-wife and 2 former girlfriends each took the stand, separately, independently. They described the same man, controlling, explosive, physically dangerous. His ex-wife testified that Ricks threw her to the ground, threatened her life, and stabbed a knife repeatedly into the floor around her head. She also described being choked into unconsciousness by him outside an Illinois police station during a child custody exchange. Roxann had not been spared either. Court records confirm she had previously filed a protective order against Ricks, accusing him of strangling her and slamming her head into the floor. That order expired in January 2013, just 4 months before May 1st. The day before the murders, Ricks had appeared in court, charged with assaulting Roxann in a prior incident. At approximately 7 p.m., Roxann pulled into the parking lot of their apartment complex on Park Place Boulevard in Bedford, Texas. She had just returned from a grocery run to Walmart, all 3 boys with her. A neighbor passing on the stairs later testified that she heard Ricks shouting profanities down at Roxann from above. He stopped when he noticed her watching. When she passed Roxann again moments later, Roxann looked visibly shaken, visibly afraid. Once inside, the argument continued, then it escalated. Ricks attacked Roxann in the living room, throwing her to the floor and beating her. Marcus and Anthony, hearing the violence from their bedroom, came out. 2 boys, one 12 and one 8, tried to physically stop a grown man from hurting their mother. Ricks shoved them away and continued. Then he stopped, stood up, and walked to the kitchen. He came back with a knife. Roxann Sanchez was stabbed repeatedly. The Tarrant County medical examiner confirmed she died from stab wounds to the neck, blunt force injuries to the head, and asphyxia. Ricks stabbed her and killed her. 8-year-old Anthony Figueroa suffered more than 40 stab wounds and cuts, including wounds that penetrated his skull. He did not survive. Marcus ran to the bedroom closet and grabbed his phone to call 911. Ricks found him, ripped the door open, and came after him. Marcus fled back into the living room, but Ricks caught up and resumed him, targeting his head, his neck, his back. Marcus received approximately 25 stabs. Then Marcus did something that saved his life. He had heard a sound coming from his little brother on the floor, a gurgling sound. He replicated it. He made that same sound, dropped to the floor, and went completely still. Ricks stopped. Marcus lay motionless beside the bodies of his mother and his 8-year-old brother, and he waited. With Roxann and Anthony and Marcus lying still on the floor, Cedric Ricks went to the bathroom. He showered. He changed his clothing. He tended to the severe cuts on his hands, wounds sustained during the. He packed a bag of personal belongings. Before leaving, he placed the infant Isaiah into a crib. Then he took Roxann's car and drove north. On the road, he called a female cousin. He told her he had Roxann and her children. He asked her to retrieve the baby. When she urged him to turn himself in, Ricks said he would rather die than go to prison. The cousin ended the call and immediately dialed 911. Back in the apartment, Marcus, still bleeding from 25 wounds, had managed to get up and call for help a second time. Paramedics transported him to Cook Children's Medical Center, where he eventually made a full recovery. Investigators used cell phone data to track Ricks northbound on Interstate 35 toward Illinois. At approximately 11 p.m., roughly 3 hours after the murders, Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers spotted Roxann's car and pulled it over near Garvin County. Ricks was arrested without incident, taken to a local jail. Other inmates learned the nature of his crime. He was beaten severely and hospitalized. He was then extradited back to Texas, where he requested to be held in isolation. He was afraid for his life. The trial took place in May 2014 in Tarrant County before Judge Molly Westfall. Prosecutors presented physical evidence, forensic findings, and testimony from Ricks' ex-wife and former partners, each describing the same documented pattern of violence. The most powerful testimony came from Marcus Figueroa himself. Now a teenager, he sat in that courtroom and described in detail what he witnessed, what he endured, and how he survived. Ricks also took the stand. He claimed he had been defending himself. He said he had anger issues. Then he said this: "Explaining my rage, I was upset. Things happen. I don't know. I wish I could bring them back, like, right now." The jury deliberated for less than 1 hour. Guilty, capital murder. During the penalty phase, after hearing all witnesses, the jury deliberated for approximately 7 hours before returning a sentence of death. Cedric Allen Ricks was formally sentenced on May 16, 2014. Ricks spent nearly 12 years on death row at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. His legal team filed multiple appeals over those years. One alleged constitutional violations after the jury saw him in shackles during trial. Another alleged the prosecution struck 2 potential black jurors based on race. Each appeal was denied. In November 2024, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals rejected his bid for commutation to life imprisonment. In March 2026, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals denied a stay on procedural grounds. The Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles denied his request for commutation or reprieve. On the morning of March 11, 2026, the United States Supreme Court rejected his final appeal without comment. On the evening of March 11, 2026, Cedric Allen Ricks, age 51, was administered a lethal dose of pentobarbital at the Huntsville unit in Huntsville, Texas. He was pronounced dead at 6:55 p.m. Central Time. The second person executed in Texas in 2026. Among those present in the witness room was Marcus Figueroa. The boy who had played dead on that apartment floor beside the bodies of his mother and his little brother. Now a grown man, he was there to watch the sentence carried out. Before the injection was administered, Ricks made his final statement, speaking directly to the family of Roxann Sanchez and to Marcus. "I can't imagine the pain it has caused you. I'm glad I am able to speak to tell y'all that face to face. To Marcus, I always thought about you, and I'm sorry that I took your mom and your brother away." Those were his last words.